Welcome to the Campfire. Today we are taking a deep dive into District 22 6A. The teams in this district are Channelview, Deer Park, Pasadena, Dobie, Memorial, Sam Rayburn, and South Houston. Let's start off by analyzing these teams in our film session. Last year, Channelview had a season to remember. The Falcons won the district by going undefeated and finished 8-3 overall. Avrion Hertz has some big-time playmakers to replace, though, in 2023. District MVP Darius Clark James and Utility Player of the Year Marcus Neal have graduated, and that was a lot of firepower. Look for Channelview to rely on the running game early on, with Truvon Jackson carrying a majority of the load. Deer Park will be attempting to get back to the top of the district with 7 players returning on defense. That includes Defensive Player of the Year Luke Webb and linebackers Reed Mallett and Caleb Dilley. The Deer offense will be inexperienced but should not be overlooked. Dobie and their wing T offense will be hard to handle in 22-6A as well. Cam Matthews should be the beneficiary of the Longhorns' misdirection offense, as he rushed for over 1,000 yards a season ago. Last year, South Houston got the 4th playoff spot and should be in contention this year as well. That's partially because they returned the district's offensive MVP, Cam Webb, at quarterback. Memorial's Lorenzo Delgado was the district's newcomer of the year in 2022. The junior running back will be joined by Jalen Bell in the backfield, as both of them rushed for just under 1,000 yards last season. Sam Rayburn returns 10 starters from its defense and will be looking to improve on their one district win from a year ago. Pasadena's Elijah Cruz threw for almost 1,400 yards as a junior and should help the Eagles compete for wins this season. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Do you or your student want a career training the world's best athletes? Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. For an even deeper look at 22-6A, here's producer Ward Fasold and the Houston Chronicle's John Poorman with the district breakdown.
All right, it's district breakdown time. We are talking with John Poorman from the Houston Chronicle, and we're talking 22-6A, the 7-team district that the last couple of years has been Deer Park and Channelview. Well, Channelview actually stepped up really big last year and ended up getting that crown. What do you think about this district this year? It's usually between those two and maybe Pasadena, Dobie. Talk about who you think may take it this year.
Yeah, I think all 3 of those teams could really be in the mix for the district title. As you mentioned, Channelview had a great season last year. A little bit of that Jalen Hurts energy magic going on down there with his dad coaching the team. No, but obviously they had a great season. Going to be really competitive again this year as well. Deer Park, I'm really looking at as one of the top teams. They've got a really exciting player who's being recruited as a defensive lineman, Luke Webb. I think that he has the potential to have a monster season for them. So they've got some talent there coming back. And then Dobie, has been really consistent. Out of the Pasadena schools, they've kind of been the benchmark setter there. And so I would expect them, with their strong running game that they always have, to be in the mix as well.
Yeah, they always have you say strong running game. I call it confusing running game as a videographer. It's very difficult to see who has that rock, but do you see them as a team that could come up and be a district title contender? I know they kind of dropped off the last 2 years and finished in 3rd and 2nd. So can they upset Deer Park and Channelview and get up there?
Yeah, I think they've got a chance for sure. The last 2 years, you mentioned 2nd and 3rd place. You're still getting in the playoffs. That's pretty good accomplishment. So I would expect that once again. I don't see a way that they don't make the playoffs, to be honest. But yeah, it just depends on. I think it's going to come down to some of these matchups, between those 3 teams, and who can kind of, pull it out and win those critical games.
All right, well, we're plugging away here at 6A. We only got a couple districts left. Next week, we'll talk 23-6A with the Pearland team, Shadow Creek, A-Leafs, Shrike Jesuit. See who can come out of there. I'll join you next week, John, and I appreciate you spending some time with us.
All right, thanks a lot.
We'll post the entire breakdown segment this Wednesday on our social media pages. Now let's take a look at some game changers and our players on the rise, presented by Parker University. South Houston quarterback Cam Webb is a highlight waiting to happen. The dual threat rushed for over 1,000 yards and 18 touchdowns. He also threw for 1,400 yards and another 12 scores. It was more than enough to earn Cam district MVP honors a year ago. When Webb is in the open field, defenses can't find a way to bring him down. Cam also plays linebacker for the Trojans. Just a junior, Dobie's Cameron Matthews could be the best running back in 22-6A. In 2022, Cam ran for almost 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns for the Longhorns. He also caught 16 passes for 4 more TDs. Dobie runs the wing T offense, which is confusing in its own right, but with Cam's pure speed, it's a nightmare for defenders. If Pasadena Memorial hopes to get into the postseason, they'll need Ethan Munoz to make plays as a receiver. As a junior, Ethan caught 31 passes for 739 yards and 7 touchdowns. He was a unanimous selection for first team All-District. Look for Munoz to continue being a deep threat in the Maverick offense. Deer Park welcomes back Defensive Player of the Year Luke Webb for another year on the D-line. Webb had 52 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks. Luke just bull rushes through double teams with sheer power and gobbles up the man with the ball. He'll lead an experienced defensive unit that is hungry to get the Deer back to the top of the district. Webb is verbally committed to Oklahoma State. Players on the Rise is brought to you by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today. Our Ward Fasol cut up to Pasadena Dobie head coach Damon Stafford to talk about his Longhorns and the rest of 22-6A in our Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day, and we are visited with Dobie head coach Damon Stafford. We're talking about 22-6A. It's the small 7-team district, but it's got a lot of punch to it because top 3 teams are always usually pretty solid there, and it's usually you, Channelview, and Deer Park battling it out. Channelview got it last year, but talk about how this district is, and it is with 7 teams. Is it a hindrance because you got to make sure you get these wins, or is it to make the playoffs, or is it easier because you only have to jump over 3?
Well, it definitely makes the picture clear on what the task at hand is. You have to win so many games with a 7-team district in order to get in the playoffs. Kind of as you mentioned, this district does pack a lot of punch, even though it's only got 7 teams.
Right.
And so last year, Deer Park and Channelview were able to, be on top. Southeastern was able to come in 3rd, and we unfortunately came in 4th, but we're still able to make the playoffs. It's a good district from top to bottom, and just by having 7 teams, you still got your work cut out for you week to week.
Talk about your team a little bit before we get back to the district. Traditionally, wing T team, it probably confuses a lot of non-district opponents for sure. The district might be used to it by now, or at least somewhat used to it. They still probably don't see it every day. But talk to me about how you got to get your running backs ready to go for an offense that's so intricate like that.
Well, we do. The wing T, in my experience, I've ran the wing T a long time. Dobie High School has run the wing T a long time. We ran the wing T when I was here in the past. It's a great offense, and Dobie's had a lot of success running that wing T. We do have some good backs to plug in to that wing T formation. It does put a lot of pressure on people around the city. Even people in our district who see it on a regular basis. Still no easy defend, especially with some of the kids that we have that will plug into there. Guys like Cameron Matthews and DeMarcus Hodges, just to name a few guys. Those individuals are pretty good at what they do, and that wing T scheme gives them a chance to showcase some of their talents.
All right, we got a month left before the season starts. I'm ready. I know you're getting ready. You look a little weird over there, so I can't wait to see the Longhorns out there, and I appreciate you joining with us today.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having us. Go Dobie.
My man.
You can catch the entire interview Friday on our social media channels. That's going to do it for this week's Campfire. Next week, we'll dive into 23-6A. Until then, have a great week, everybody.